So these devices, outside of the Galaxy S25 Ultra, are two of the best Android phones in early 2025, and picking between them for me has been incredibly tough. Sure, the 13 smokes the 9 Pro on paper, but we already know that specs don't tell the full story, so let's dive deep into this comparison and try and come up with a winner. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas, and both of these devices are phenomenal, but they are kings in their own rights and take pretty different approaches to get the ultimate goal. So let's start with the software. I didn't realize just how many of you were OnePlus Oxygen OS fans. Apparently many are, based on my comments for my 13R versus 8A comparison. I'm more of a Pixel experience kind of guy myself, but both offer pretty comprehensive software packages, from AI features to update support to the fit and finish of the user experience. Both phones are running Android 15, though the OnePlus 13 is due 4 years of platform upgrades plus 2 years of security patches, and the Pixel 9 Pro is promised 6 years of full platform upgrades. With AdMe and Pixel Studio and how much Google is pushing those AI features in its marketing, I think more of the mainstream will prefer the Pixel software, if I'm honest, but the OnePlus 13 software is by no means bad. It's pretty great. But the hardware is a different story. Now, I have to be careful with how I phrase and say these things because I've been torn to shreds in the comments by saying better raw performance is better, and then also saying that actually raw performance doesn't matter so much and it's user experience. So I'm just going to give you the facts and my anecdotal evidence, and you can make this one up for yourselves. The OnePlus 13's Snapdragon 8 Elite is a monster. Combined with lots of RAM and double the base storage of the Pixel, it is just phenomenal for playing games, scrolling around, heck, do what you want. This thing will cover it. It is one of the fastest phones that you can buy. The Pixel 9 Pro's Tensor G4 chip benchmarks lower and has less raw horsepower, but I've found it to be more than up to the task of playing games, doom scrolling, essentially doing anything on my phone. If you blindly gave me these phones and I didn't know which one was which, and I didn't know which was meant to be better in performance, I might notice that the 13 is a little faster. Maybe that's due to Oxygen OS's crazy fast animations, but it's not going to be by enough to really go one way or the other. Both are very fast phones. I think longer term, the OnePlus 13 is going to hold up better because Qualcomm's flagship chips, at least in the past, tend to keep phones faster for longer. And so if you hold on to your phone for 4, 5, 6 years, the OnePlus 13 is going to be a safer bet, at least in terms of performance. Battery life is a little more cut and dry. Since the 13 is just so much larger than the 9 Pro, it can pack a far larger battery, 6,000 mAh versus 4,700, and that translates to genuinely very noticeable and appreciably better battery life with the OnePlus 13. It's a 2-day phone for me, where the 9 Pro is maybe closer to a day and a half, sometimes 2 days, but this is going to be very much dependent on what you do on your smartphone. Wireless connections, how bright you have the display, how much you use your phone, what you're actually doing on your phone. That's why the screen on time metric is a little rubbish. Compare this with the 13's significantly faster charging in terms of both wired and wireless forms. It really is an order of magnitude better and faster to top up. So I'm going to have to give the battery life and charging section to the OnePlus 13. I have no concerns about the Pixel 9 Pro's battery life, by the way, it's just the 13 is objectively better. More subjectively, of course, are the designs. The 13 is clearly the larger phone and comes with its own benefits. It has the staple alert slider that I love. It has IP69 versus IP68 weatherproofing of the Pixel, so is more secure against jet blasts, along with just British weather or dunking it in the pool. But for me, the 9 Pro's chassis is nicer in the hand. The curved side rails and the flatter panel on the front and back, I just prefer it. It's more pocketable and easier to use one-handed because it's just smaller. And the camera bumps might be a turn-off in both cases. One's a visor, one's a dinner plate. I don't think either are going to be winning the prettiest phone on the market, but I found the 13's camera bump to catch on my pockets less, if that's useful to you. Haptics are super tight on both, but I think the 13 edges it a bit. Oh, and I don't know if Google and OnePlus were exchanging notes this year, but both have really tactile buttons. I'm not sure why they just are particularly tactile, but there you go. The displays are interesting this time around, both at fast 120Hz LTPO AMOLEDs, which make them great for watching content and of course playing games. That larger OnePlus 13 screen in HDR gets substantially brighter, but day to day and in regular SDR content, it's the Pixels panel that comes out on top. Both are really bright, and even in harsh light I really had no problem making out text and images on either. The OnePlus's panel being a hair sharper is unlikely to sway this for anybody because the difference is just so minuscule, but that larger size could play a factor, and it's also worth mentioning that whilst the pixel display is completely flat, the ever so slightly curved unit on the OnePlus 13 could prove difficult for installing glass screen protectors. I think the Pixel has the objectively better display, but OnePlus knocked it out the park this year with its screen. Where the Pixel used to dominate in its camera, others have caught up, including OnePlus. Both phones offer big, wide, ultra-wide and telephoto cameras and hit back and forth down the spec sheet. In reality, they're pretty interesting to compare. OnePlus released an update recently for its camera which fixes its video in Ultra HD 4K 60p, so that now the 8K and the 4K 60 just look perfectly smooth where they weren't so before, and they compete well from a base video perspective. And I say base video because if you use the Pixel 9 Pro's video boost feature, which you'll need to upload the footage to the cloud and then let it process and then download it, for me that is some of the best looking smartphone video that you can get, and it just beats the OnePlus's in every single mode that has. These two phones both capture fantastic stills. There's definitely a bit more pop with the OnePlus's imagery versus the more neutral and toned down nature of the Pixels, and this carries along pretty much every kind of scenario. The Hasselblad endorsed color tuning is a bit more filmic, a bit more analog, maybe a bit more character to it, and that's not easy to quantify. That's not an objectivity thing. That's just something that I've personally noticed, and please do let me know in the comments what you think of these camera setups, because it's always good to have more than one opinion. Both are pixel binning, so taking the photos at a higher resolution and then binning them down to sort of 12 megapixel outputs. You can disable this of course on both phones, but I wouldn't because I think the results just seem that much better with it left on. When you pinch in, despite the clear difference in lens strategy here, with the OnePlus having a 3x with a bigger sensor and the Pixel going for a 5x but with a smaller sensor, these two trade blows, and actually sometimes the Pixel takes the better photo at long range, sometimes it's the 13. In bright light, low light, these things are pretty comparable, so I want to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. In total, maybe the Pixel 9 Pro just takes it here, but I personally really like what OnePlus is doing with the Hasselblad branded colours, and so it really is pretty close, but again, let me know in the comments what you think. The higher resolution and larger field of view of Google's upgraded Pixel 9 Pro selfie camera makes it the better self-portrait shooter if that's the sort of thing you're into as well. If you want a big phone with astonishing speed, brilliant battery life, and don't want to spend four figures, the OnePlus 13 is one of the best phones you can buy right now. The alert slider, the super fast charging are fantastic bonuses on an already superb device. But if you want something more compact, slightly better cameras maybe, longer term software support, and don't mind spending out, the Pixel 9 Pro is also one of the best there is. I think the OnePlus 13 objectively just has to take it this time around. It just has way better battery life, a really nice big screen, has cameras that honestly catch up and are almost on the level of the Pixel 9 Pro. Let me know in the comments which of these you would pick, or if you're waiting for Samsung or you're an iPhone user, which would be quite rare. The 13 is a knockout phone this year and really set the bar quite high for everyone else to catch up to, though I do have a personal soft spot for the Pixel 9 Pro thanks to its great size and design. It just nails it. Whilst you're down there in the comments, be sure to hit like if you enjoyed today's content. Of course, subscribe if you're new around here to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.